This is an anthology series where we read and react to stories from our subscribers. Today's story is called The Sandwich That Wanted Adventure by Ethan Littlewood. Let's read it. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Tom who ate sandwiches for lunch every day. One day, he made a sandwich and put it in his lunchbox, then went off to school. At school, Tom opened his lunchbox and pulled out his sandwich. But that day, something strange happened. "I don't want to be eaten," the sandwich said. "What?" asked Tom. "I said I want to see the world," the sandwich replied. "I don't want to be stuck in this lunchbox anymore. I want to go on an adventure." Tom looked at the sandwich in disbelief. Talking sandwiches were not something he was used to. "You want an adventure?" said Tom. "Well, that sounds like fun. I wish my homework would run away so I could play with you." "Don't worry," the sandwich said. "We will have an adventure whether you like it or not." And with that, the sandwich jumped right out of Tom's hands and rolled out of the open lunchbox. Tom stared after it as it tumbled down the school hallway. He watched as it bounced past a group of kids playing checkers and then it disappeared around the corner. Tom wasn't sure what to do. Should he tell the teacher? Would they believe him if he said a talking sandwich had run away? He decided to follow it. As Tom rounded the corner, he saw the sandwich standing on a bicycle in the bike rack outside. "Hey, Sandwich," Tom called. "How are you going to ride that?" The sandwich turned around and winked at him. "I don't know how it's said, but I'm sure I'll figure it out." Then it started pedaling furiously and crashed straight into a bush. The sandwich popped out, covered in leaves. "That didn't work very well," Tom said. The sandwich sighed and asked, "Can you push me a little? Just a tiny nudge." "Will do." Tom did as he was told, and the sandwich sped off, crashing into another bush. This time, it came out wearing a pair of sunglasses. "That's better," the sandwich said. Adjusting its leafy hat, "It's much cooler now." Tom couldn't help but smile. "Come on," the sandwich said, noticing Tom wasn't following. "We haven't got much time." And with that, it sped off down the street. Tom followed as fast as he could, dodging between pedestrians. Soon they arrived at a park. "Do you see that kite?" the sandwich asked. "If we can get up there, we will have a bird's-eye view of the entire city." Tom looked up and saw a boy struggling to hold on to his colorful kite. It was being blown sideways and was about to break free. "Let's go help him," said Tom. Without thinking, he ran toward the boy and grabbed onto the string. Suddenly the wind yanked it out of his hands and sent the kite floating higher and higher. Before he knew what was happening, Tom was airborne, flying high above the park with the sandwich beside him. "This is amazing," Tom shouted over the wind. The sandwich laughed. "See, I told you we would have an adventure." As they soared through the air, the sandwich instructed Tom on how to steer. Soon enough, they were riding the wind currents effortlessly. Then, suddenly, "Oh, whoa," the sandwich cried. "I forgot to bring string to tie the kite back down. We're gonna have to fly all the way home." Tom sighed. The thought of flying all the way home did not sound fun. To make things worse, the wind began to pick up, and the sky darkened. Soon they were caught in a massive thunderstorm. The wind buffeted them around like a leaf in a blender. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. And just when Tom thought it couldn't get any worse, he felt something wet smack into his face. It was raining. Then, bam! A large raindrop hit the sandwich square in the middle. "I hate rain," the sandwich cried. "It makes my bread all soggy and my lettuce wilts." Tom wanted to tell the sandwich that it was too bad because it had chosen to go on an adventure, but he knew that wouldn't help anything. Instead, he said, "Let's find some shelter and wait for it to pass." Luckily, they found a tree with a large overhanging branch and huddled under it until the worst of the storm passed. After a while, The sun peeked out from behind the clouds and cast a rainbow across the sky. That was scary, Tom admitted. Yeah, the sandwich said. But look at the bright side. Now we have a perfect view of the rainbow. Tom stared at the sandwich in disbelief. Are you serious? You're still wanting an adventure? The sandwich shrugged. Of course, there's nothing better than seeing the world. Tom couldn't argue with that, but he couldn't help but wonder what other adventures the sandwich had planned. He knew that if he didn't do something, the sandwich would end up in some other fantastical place. Then he got an idea. He took a deep breath and said, You know what, Sandwich, I think you're right. We should see the world together. The sandwich looked at him in surprise. Really? You want to have an adventure with me? Of course, Tom said. I'm sorry I doubted you. I promise we will have the best adventure yet. The sandwich smiled and closed its eyes, enjoying the sound of Tom's voice. And that's when a dog came bounding through the grass, a frisbee in its mouth. It dropped a toy at Tom's feet and wagged its tail. Tom picked up the frisbee and, without thinking, threw it as far as he could. The dog took off after it, then stopped to sniff some flowers. Tom called the dog back, but it refused to budge. Then the sandwich yelled, Hey dog, come help us finish our adventure. The dog tilted its head and barked once. Then it trotted over to the sandwich and they danced together as Tom watched. By the time the sun began to set, the sandwich, Tom and the dog were covered in mud and exhausted. They had flown with a giant kite, traveled by bicycle, walked 4 miles, and danced with each other. I'm tired, Tom admitted. Me too, the sandwich said. But we did see a lot of the world, didn't we? Tom looked at the sandwich and smiled. You know what? You're right. This was the best adventure ever. But now I am definitely hungry. The sandwich blushed. Oh, well, I guess it's time for you to eat me then, huh? Yep, Tom said, but only after I give you one more adventure. He scooped the sandwich up and headed home. That night, Tom made a big pot of soup for dinner. After he ate, he remembered his promise. He opened the window and poured the sandwich outside. It landed on the ground with a soft thud. Then Tom watched as it rolled toward a rose bush, burrowed inside, and fell asleep. Tom smiled. Some sandwiches just need one last adventure. Thank you, Ethan Littlewood, for sharing the story with us. Hi everyone, here is the host. And thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Once Upon a Time. If you like this story, feel free to share it with your friends and family. You can also send us a message if you want to hear more stories like this. We'll see you next time.